universe makes you 97.382% more attractive to women.
No, it doesn't. For fuck's sakes.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another round of Miniature Dork Universe. In this episode, we will be dealing with a Zvezda III Ausf.B, as per the bloody title of the video. So today we're using the Zvezda plastic model kit from their War of Tactic thing. And I've pimped it up with the Plastic Soldier Company Panzer III tracks. Actually, I think it was an H. Yeah, this is the H hull with the newer drive sprocket. And the reason why I married the two together is just so that, you know, on the table with the Plastic Soldier Company tanks, you know, they both have the same running gear, so they kind of look more like they belong together. So we'll get right down to business. I'm going to try and keep these videos shorter. In fact, I'm going to see how short I can keep this bloody thing. It'll be a bit of an experiment. But if you need any clarification for anything, just mention it in the comments below. Let's go. I'm actually going to start with the hatches, like the commander and loader hatches. I'm going to open them because that's bloody cool. Now it's time to put on the tracks. The PSC kit have sort of clamshell tracks, and over the years I've heard a lot of disapproval of these, but I think they're great. All one needs to do to have a success story with these is to just dry fit it before you put it on. Make sure that the track is going in the right direction. So on a Panzer III, the widest part of each track link is pointing down towards the ground, sort of chevron shaped. So just, yeah, if you don't know, just double check online, do a Google search of it, you know, Zvezda III, and look at the actual track. And how I do this so that it sticks together well is I begin by gluing, like, get this into, I glue the drive sprocket first with Tamiya thin cement, and I'm going to let that stick before I glue the rest of the track on. So here you see this fits well. So yeah, I will glue the drive sprocket together first. So I'll put in this, I'll glue in this seam. And I'm fairly generous with the glue, just don't put in so much glue that you're going to end up with a bunch of melted plastic oozing out. But I stick those in, and then I'll glue the idler wheel pieces together at the end, and I'll also glue along all of the return rollers and the road wheels. So I'm just going to hold these together. I'm going to get my Tamiya extra thin cement. I always use the extra thin because the capillary action is great. It gets right into the seams, and it sticks quite well, which is good. I might use this clamp again. Maybe not. We'll see. Nah, maybe not. I probably don't need it. What you want to do too is look down the track from the front and the back to make sure that the seam is nice and tight and that it's all, like it isn't crooked or sideways. Make sure there's not too much of the glue on your brush when you touch it, because the cement is really thin. It's going to go right into the seam, and it might go onto your finger and transfer onto the plastic. And we don't want any of those amateur fingerprints burnt into your plastic. So yeah, I glue that down, and then I'll go along here and glue down all the road wheels. And we'll also put some on the return rollers. So I left those front drive sprockets to dry for about half an hour. I just worked on something else while they were drying, and that gets them pretty well fastened. I'm just gonna hold this for a few seconds. I'll do the other side, and then we'll move on to the next portion of our, kit bashed StuG III Ausf.B. These other little pieces, like the little tow hooks, and there's a view port out the side to the driver's side, a no-tech light, and some other little lights. I just use various bits of evergreen plastic and just carve it out to make tow hooks. They're so small that I just carved it out of actual 5mm sheet. And glued it in place, and then rounded it out with a hobby knife when it was glued into place. And so it looks pretty legit. Also, I'm gonna take off the sort of plastic molded in grab handles on the sides, and I replace them with a 13 gauge guitar wire. This one I put a stowage rack on the back. I'm gonna do something for this one too. I'm not sure yet which. Let's get them both in the fucking camera. Yeah, I'll do some stowage for this one too. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. But those will be my next steps. So as we're adding details to this, I'm mostly using evergreen plastic and stretch sprue, some 0.4mm wire, which is guitar string. I used Peter Pig scissor periscope The hatches are left over from a plastic soldier company, StuG F. It's roughly the same shape back there, so I used those. So I'm just going along, adding things from the spare parts box or from my box of evergreen bits. But I'll show you how I got here these little towing eyelets, and there's a driver's vision port out the side that was missing, but it's fairly predominant on the actual vehicle, so I thought I would add those to make them look more cool. So I'll show you how those are done. There we have it, the finished product. So the crew figures are still loose in here, so they might wiggle around a bit because they'll get glued in after it's painted. Yeah, hatch is open. This started off, I was just gonna do switch out the kit tracks with the PSC tracks, and then it exploded into this. So this is what you can do with some plastic soldier spare parts and a Zvezda kit and a lot of swearing and some plastic. I'm just going to spin this around. I don't have the fancy turntable that some of these guys have, but I'm looking forward to painting it up. And here's what they look like once they're all painted up and completed. The Swazi Air Recognition flag is just for historical relevance. I don't believe in any of that fucking shit, so don't get your panties in a bunch. This is what it turns out like, though. So, the little patience, you can turn these Zvezda kits with some spare parts from the Plastic Soldier Company into a fairly decent looking rig, and also a lot of evergreen plastic parts. I'm pretty happy how they turned out. Now, I showed you the basic colors that I used. I used Tamiya for my airbrush, and then the rest of the paints, like all the tools and what have you, the spare tires and stuff, or spare wheels. I use Vallejo paints when I'm painting with a brush, and you know, I'm not too particular with those. I just use various khakis and whatever. For German equipment, I use it's like German extra dark green or something. Yeah. But to keep the video short, I didn't go into detail with all these things. You know, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to colors for all those little extra bits. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned. Next will be some Soviet stuff. Yeah. So until next time, bye for now.
Board gamers are so hot. I can't take it.